At 74, Eleanor starts her mornings with ease. No rush, no stress, just a quiet confidence that sets the tone for her day. But it wasn't always like this. She used to wake up feeling sluggish, lost in the routine of simply getting through the day. Then she discovered 11 simple morning rituals that changed everything. The best part? No one talks about them, but they hold the key to more energy, joy, and purpose. And number 3, it's a game changer. Let's begin. 1. The first thought of the day shapes everything. Eleanor used to wake up with the same thought every morning. Another day to get through. The weight of routine, aches from aging, and lingering worries filled her mind before she even stepped out of bed. It was as if her mood had already been decided before she had the chance to do anything about it. She noticed that the happiest women she knew had a different approach. They weren't waking up dreading the day. They were setting the tone before even leaving their pillows. It wasn't about ignoring reality. It was about choosing how to step into the day. At first, she doubted it would make a difference, but she gave it a try. Instead of letting her mind wander to stress or discomfort, she replaced her first thought with something simple. I am here. I am alive. Today is a gift. The shift was subtle but powerful. Mornings didn't feel as heavy. She started greeting the day with curiosity instead of dread. Over time, she noticed that her energy, mood, and perspective all changed, just from choosing a different first thought. 2. Gentle movement. The ritual that wakes you up naturally. For years, Eleanor relied on coffee to shake off morning sluggishness. She would sit for hours, scrolling through news or emails, wondering why she still felt tired. But she noticed something. The women who felt energized in the morning weren't jumping straight to caffeine. They were moving first. She started small, with simple stretches before getting out of bed. A gentle roll of her shoulders, a slow stretch of her legs, a deep breath to open her chest. At first it felt unnecessary, but after just a week, she realized something. She was waking up faster. Then she added light movement after getting up, reaching toward the ceiling, bending slowly to touch her toes, even a few minutes of walking around her home. It was effortless, but the difference was undeniable. She no longer felt like she was dragging her body into the day. Instead, she was tuning into it, giving it a chance to wake up naturally. The mornings no longer felt like something to push through. They became a time to reconnect with herself. 3. The power of morning stillness. Before the day begins, Eleanor used to fill every moment of her morning with something. Checking messages, thinking about her to-do list, turning on the TV. She was always in motion, trying to prepare for the day. But instead of making her feel ahead, it left her overwhelmed before she even started. Then she observed something different. The calmest, most centered women she knew had a ritual she had never considered: morning stillness. She resisted at first. Sitting in silence felt uncomfortable, almost wasteful. But she gave it a try. Just 5 minutes. No phone, no talking, just breathing and being still. She noticed the quiet before the world woke up, the way her thoughts slowed instead of racing. Over time, those few minutes became her anchor, a sacred moment before the demands of the day set in. For the first time, she realized that peace wasn't something she had to chase. It was something she could choose every single morning. The 1 hydration habit. No one talks about Eleanor had always been told to drink water, but she never truly understood how much it affected her mornings. She often woke up feeling groggy, with stiffness in her joints and a dry sensation in her mouth. She assumed it was just part of aging, until she noticed that the most energetic women she knew had one thing in common. They started their day with hydration, not coffee. At first, she dismissed it. She had always been a coffee-first kind of person. But out of curiosity, she decided to try something new. Before reaching for her morning brew, she drank a full glass of water. The first day, it felt routine. By the third day, she noticed something different. She woke up more alert, more refreshed, and with fewer aches. She learned that the body loses a surprising amount of water overnight, and dehydration was one of the main reasons for morning sluggishness. Coffee, while comforting, was only masking the fatigue, not addressing it. She started adding a squeeze of a lemon to her morning water, and soon it became a ritual, one that made her feel instantly revitalized. As the habit became second nature, she realized something. Mornings weren't supposed to feel like something to recover from. They were time to replenish and recharge, and it all started with the simplest act, drinking water. The breakfast shift that changed everything. For years, Eleanor's breakfast routine had been predictable: toast and coffee, sometimes nothing at all. She had never been much of a morning eater, and the idea of preparing something elaborate felt exhausting. But she started noticing something. The women who moved through their mornings with ease and energy weren't skipping breakfast, nor were they eating whatever was fastest. They were fueling their bodies with intention. She decided to pay attention to how she felt after different breakfasts. On days when she had something sugary, she felt sluggish by mid-morning. On days when she ate protein, she stayed fuller longer with steady energy. But the biggest shift came when she introduced healthy fats, fiber, and hydration into her first meal of the day. She started small, adding chia seeds to yogurt, avocado to toast, and swapping processed cereals for oats or eggs. The change wasn't drastic, but the difference in how she felt was undeniable. She wasn't dragging by mid-morning, nor was she reaching for another cup of coffee just to keep going. She realized that breakfast wasn't just about eating. It was about nourishing. It was about setting herself up for a day that felt good, right from the start. 6. A mindfulness moment that transforms the entire day. With her body now feeling more refreshed, Eleanor began to notice something. Her mornings were physically easier, but her mind still felt scattered. Her thoughts raced before she even stepped out of bed. To-do lists, worries, unfinished conversations, all competing for attention before the day had even started. She observed that the happiest, most content women she knew had a different approach. They didn't rush into their day mentally. They paused first. Whether it was deep breathing, a gratitude practice, or a quiet moment with a warm drink, they all had a mindfulness ritual that set a different tone for the morning. She decided to try it. Instead of reaching for her phone first thing, she sat by her window for a few minutes each morning, simply breathing and listening to the world wake up. At first, it felt like nothing, but within days, she noticed a shift. Her mind wasn't as restless, her body didn't feel as tense, and she carried a sense of calm into the rest of her morning. This small act wasn't just about being still, it was about claiming the day before it claimed her. 7. The power of writing when a thought before the day begins. Eleanor had never been one to journal. She had always believed that writing things down was for the poetic, the deeply introspective. But one morning, after feeling particularly restless, she picked up a notebook and wrote one simple sentence about how she felt. That one sentence led to another, and then another. Before she knew it, she had released thoughts onto paper that she hadn't even realized she was holding on to. She started making it a habit. Not long, structured journaling, but a single written reflection every morning. Some days it was an affirmation. I will embrace today with ease. Other days, it was something simple. I didn't sleep well, but I will be kind to myself. She quickly realized that this wasn't just a morning task. It was mental clarity on paper. The happiest women she had met weren't just thinking about their emotions. They were processing them, understanding them, and releasing them. What started as a single sentence in a notebook became one of the most grounding morning rituals she had ever adopted. 8. Setting an intention. Instead of a to-do list. For decades, Eleanor had started her mornings with a to-do list. Tasks, errands, reminders. It was always about what needed to be done. But despite checking things off, she often felt unfulfilled at the end of the day, as if she had done everything right, but missed something important. She realized that the happiest women she knew weren't just productive, they were intentional. Instead of jumping into tasks, they set the tone for their day with a single, guiding intention. She decided to try it. Instead of writing a rigid list, she wrote down one intention each morning. Some days, it was as simple as today, I will be patient with myself. Other days, it was I will find joy in small moments. Something shifted. She still got things done, but she was no longer defined by her to-do list. Her days felt more meaningful, not just efficient. And she understood what the happiest women knew all along. Life isn't about how much you do, but about how you feel while doing it. 9. The ritual of mindful breathing. A simple practice with a big impact. Eleanor had come a long way in reshaping her mornings. She no longer rushed into the day feeling scattered or drained. Her mornings were now filled with presence, nourishment, and intention. But there was one final piece, the act of conscious breathing. She had never given much thought to breathing. It was automatic, effortless, something her body did without her. But then she noticed that the calmest women she knew had a simple habit. They practiced mindful breathing each morning. She tried it, just 3 slow, deep breaths before stepping out of bed. Inhale, hold, exhale. Each breath brought clarity, steadiness, and a sense of control. She started incorporating breathwork throughout her morning. Before drinking water, she took one deep breath to reset. Before writing in her journal, she paused for a moment of stillness. It was subtle, but powerful. The happiest women weren't rushing. They were breathing through their mornings with ease. 10. Finding a small moment of joy before the day begins. Eleanor realized that happiness wasn't something that magically appeared. It was something that had to be invited. And the happiest women she knew all had one thing in common. They made time for joy in the morning. At first, she thought joy had to be something big, an event, an achievement, a reason to celebrate. But then she saw it differently. It was the way the morning light hit her window, the warmth of a cup of tea, the sound of a favorite song playing softly in the background. She decided to create one joyful moment each morning, something that was just for her. Some days, it was listening to music while getting dressed. Other days, it was sitting outside for 5 minutes and feeling the sun on her skin. These small moments weren't insignificant. They were a declaration that happiness wasn't something she would wait for, but something she would choose. 11. Ending the morning with gratitude. With her mornings now filled with presence, hydration, movement, and intention, Eleanor noticed something. She felt lighter, clearer, more herself. But she wanted one final ritual, something that would seal the morning with warmth and meaning. She observed that the most content women she knew had a simple habit. They ended their mornings with gratitude. Not a long list, not an obligation, just one small acknowledgement of something good. She started whispering it to herself as she made her bed. I am grateful for this day. Some mornings, it was specific. I am grateful for my health, for my family, for this peaceful moment. She quickly realized that gratitude wasn't just a thought, it was a shift in energy. No matter what the day ahead held, she had already begun with something positive, something grounding, something that reminded her that life, even in its simplicity, was something to be cherished. Eleanor's mornings are no longer rushed or routine. They are hers. A few simple rituals changed everything, bringing clarity, energy, and joy. And now, it's your turn. Your morning sets the tone for your life, so why not make it beautiful? Start small, stay consistent, and watch your days transform.